What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in this video we're covering 10 of the absolute longest lasting fragrances in my collection. Now look, these aren't the only 10, but these are 10 that are just so impressive with just how freaking long they last that these were absolutely noteworthy. We have a broad spectrum of price ranges from some extremely affordable stuff on up to some slightly mid-range and more pricey stuff. But bound to find something for everybody. Not everything's darker and heavier. We got some fresh stuff that's got crazy longevity too. So let's discuss. Stay tuned. Starting with one of the newest releases from a very well-known and popular Middle Eastern brand. I'll probably put this in the thumbnail, honestly. It is Rasasi Hawas Fire, and this surprises me every time I spray it. I literally, when I gathered these fragrances, pulled the cap and sniffed it, and apparently some's on the cap, and wow, that just hit me as soon as I sniffed that. Some was on the cap, I'm guessing, and stayed on my fingers forever. Even it survived 2 hand washings just from grabbing the cap. I could just smell it. I smell it radiating off here now. It's not just super long lasting, it's super loud as well. It's a peppered, fruity, aquatic fragrance, typical red bottle designer type of stuff. They picked the right color for this. Very, very fruity. Not so salty of a marine accord, but still has that aquatic, watery smell to it. But it's very much a peppered fruits type of smell. Like I said, if you like any of the things along the lines of, you know, certain Polo Red fragrances in that line, Mont Blanc Legend Red, even a little bit of like Arrows Flame. That's obviously more blood orange, and this is much more fruity, but kind of similar premise. While it doesn't smell like any one of them, it smells like pretty much all of them in some ways. Just far superior in performance, both projection, sillage, and especially longevity with this one. You can get this one for right under 40 bucks. It's a brand new release, and if you're looking for power and smells really good, you might want to look into it. It's Rasasi's Hawas Fire. Next is one of the greatest gourmand meets oud fragrances I've ever smelled. The honey here is absolutely delicious. It is Montale's Honey Oud. What a beautiful fragrance. Up until I got Sensual Instinct, I would call this my #1 from the brand. It's a close second now, but this is, imagine a pile of oud chips. Now, drizzle honey over it, sprinkle cinnamon, shave a little bit of vanilla. That's pretty much what it smells like. It's a slightly powdered, sweet vanilla, syrupy, thick type of honey. Very spicy and warm. Not over-the-top funk from the oud, but you do get a little bit of funkiness here. Obviously, it's a very woodsy fragrance because it's based around oud. It's so enjoyable. Such an easy-to-wear oud gourmand fragrance. And this stuff will just go and go and go. It's going to be on your skin until you decide to take a shower and scrub it off. It's got that type of longevity. Obviously, it's a very loud fragrance for the first few hours as well. You don't need a lot of sprays, but longevity on this, as with a lot of Montale fragrances, there's a lot I could have chose from this brand. Just have superior longevity. This one just happens to be one of the best smelling fragrances I've ever put my nose on, so that's why I picked this one. I encourage you to try this, especially if you like honey. It's Montale's Honey Oud. Now, this one's pretty new to the collection. I've done some test sprays. I've done a full wearing. And it's kind of unnecessary the way the longevity is on this fragrance. Like, they even advertise it as like, it'll stay on your skin for like 2 days. And I don't want to test that theory. I don't deem it necessary because the first time I did a test spray, it survived like 3 hand washings just from a test spray and a shower, and it was still there the next morning. And 4 sprays was a lot with this one. This is Odyon Dubai. This is Scorpion Intense. Now, when you look at the note breakdown, you might be like, oh, it's another oud rose. Okay, we got a lot of oud roses. Well, the rose is very plentiful early, but it takes a back seat after like 10, 15 minutes. And it becomes more about incense. It's fruity. It's got this wild berries fruitiness. And the oud does have a little bit of funk to it, but more of dry, smoky, spiced, woody accord is what you get here with this fruity berry smell. And the rose kind of fades to the background, believe it or not. This stuff is so freaking strong, though. Super, super strong. I believe it's saffron is what gives it all that warm spice as well. Even comes across a touch leathery. Again, it has a little bit of funkiness to it, but it's just as much of a dry wood smell as it is of a funky oud wood smell. This stuff is crazy strong, too. Like, I know a lot of people love beasts, but like a lot of these, including this one in this video, it's way stronger than I think it needs to be. So if you're looking for something that just goes and goes and goes and never really gets all that weak on skin for as long as it lasts, it's always very prominent. Performance is actually really impressive on this one. It's niche too. It's affordable niche. It's in that mid $100 price range. I would encourage getting a sample and maybe checking it out. But man, price versus performance and scent profile, this is some quality stuff right here. It's Odyon Dubai. This is Scorpion Intense. Now, yes, this bottle's a couple years old. No, I'm not going to buy another one to test the new batch for you. You can buy at your own risk, but I'm going to tell you the experience on my bottle, because there's certain ones, there's certain fragrances like, but bro, have you tried the new one? I've heard online from some anonymous profile that this isn't what it used to be. I don't know. Find out for me, because my bottle of Afnan Supremacy Not Only Intense is monstrous. This stuff is strong. This is a 4 to 5 spray fragrance just because I really get away with 2 to 3. It is super black currant fruity, little tart, fruity, inky, and a lot of smoky oak moss here. It's kind of a cross between Aventus and Hachivat while still not being either of them exactly. Smells fantastic, very masculine. The quality in the oil is actually pretty good. Not an over-the-top, cheap, synthetic smelling fragrance. And performance is outrageous. It's around that $40 price point. A lot of value, a lot of bang for your buck with the scent profile and the performance. Longevity is outrageous on this fragrance. Another one that's kind of stronger than it needs to be, really. But I know a lot of people love the, smell me from a block down the street kind of performance. This will give you that, and it lasts, 12 plus hours easily. Everything in this video is beyond 12 hours in my experience. And this is some affordable good stuff right here. If you're looking for some real value, bang for your buck, I encourage checking out Afnan Supremacy Not Only Intense. Now, one of the priciest fragrances in this list topic here today, but also one of the most impressive, it is from Argos. It is the Extrait version of my favorite tobacco fragrance. This is Triumph of Bacchus Extrait. It's a 40% extrait. How dark that juice is. The EDP is a monster. The extrait just intensifies its longevity. It doesn't necessarily project louder. The sillage is stronger because the oil concentration's ramped up so much that that scent bubble around you is just thicker. It's a denser cloud. But the longevity is just, it's kind of absurd. Now, the only difference from this one to the original, I find, is the spice is intensified here. It is the exact same formula, just raised oil concentration. Nothing was changed. But that does tend to bring out base notes more. And the kind of heart/base note that came out more for me is the spice. I believe it's saffron. Beautiful rum tobacco fragrance. Apple peach fruitiness up top, which isn't as intensive as the fresher. It's crazy to say Triumph of Bacchus EDP is a fresher fragrance. But when you compare it to this, the lower concentration makes it slightly fresher. The fruitiness is intensified a bit more in that version, whereas the spice is intensified more in this one. Warm and ambery, very rich fragrance. Again, the tobacco here is not over the top earthy, but you get a beautiful rum absolute. This stuff is just perfection in a bottle. If you want a lighter wear, which is still not a light wear, go with the EDP. You'll get more of the fruits out of it, with still a monster performer. But if you want to just ramp it up and bring out the heart and base notes more, because the oil concentration was just cranked up from 18-20% to 40%. This is impressive stuff, and obviously the bottle's a complete work of art. This is from Argos. Let's get that to focus again, because this is just a sight to behold. There we go. This is Triumph of Bacchus Extrait. Another fragrance that I can get away with 2 to 3 sprays, and it's going to fill my apartment very easily for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. It is Dior Sauvage Elixir. Absolute nuclear monster performer in my experience. Woody, spicy fragrance. There's a multitude of spices up top. It's warm, woody, rich and aromatic without being soapy. Very masculine stuff. Classic style, kind of brought into the modern day. A lot of people like to relate it to Drakkar Noir, and I get some semblance to it. It resembles it a bit, but not so much. Now, the reach, in my opinion, is tying it to Sauvage. You got to really dig and kind of sift through the profile and get something that you kind of think might be a little bit of Ambroxan, and you're like, there it is. There's the tie-in. I can admit firsthand, I'm reaching. when I'm trying to find something tied to Sauvage. It's just in a Sauvage bottle. But it's an incredible fragrance. If you like over-the-top, spicy, woody, masculine fragrances, this is one of the best designers out there. Problem is, it's also one of the most expensive designers out there. It's not of a private blend. So, but at least 60 ml will go a long, long time, because 2 to 3 sprays is outrageous longevity, outrageous projection, and outrageous sillage. And that's Dior Sauvage Elixir. Next, we've got a inspired fragrance by Megamare. It's super saltwater aquatic. I mean, very salty, with a nice hit of oak moss to give it this green, woody dry down. But I mean, super saltwater aquatic here, guys. This is Lattafa's Atlas. This is an outrageous performer. It screams off the skin. It lasts forever and ever and ever. I'm determined to get this to focus. Here we go. That should do it. There we go. This stuff's super potent. I can 2 to 3 spray this one, no problem. That little dent, that's from just doing 2 to 3 sprays. Because there's no reason for more than that with this fragrance. Not to me. It's a lot at first. This will sting the nostrils, you know. Super salty. You have to be prepared for that. If you don't like salty fragrances, you ain't gonna like this. But if you like saltwater aquatics, it's intense. The word intense should be somewhere in here. Lattafa Saltwater Intense. That's what they should have called this. Definitely smells very close to Megamare. I wouldn't call it one-to-one. Very inspired by, though. I would say it's every bit of 80+% accurate. And for the money, because it's around 40 bucks, you performance whores, there's a reason it's in this video. Oh man, another value performer here, because you're not going to spend a lot of money. Just know it's intensively salty. And at first I was like, this fragrance is too much for me to wear. It's just too salty. But when you let it dry down and settle, it's easy to fall in love with, and then you want to go back to it. And when you spray it again the next time, still intensively salty, but seems a lot more enjoyable the next go round, because I don't know, there's just something about your palate adjusting for it, and that's what happened to me. This stuff is absurdly strong. But if all that sounds good to you, you might want to check it out. Come on, come on. This is the downside to having such a busy background, guys. This should do it. There we go. Lattafa's Atlas. Basically niche Tom Ford's Black Orchid. This is from Amouroud. This is called Dark Orchid. This is a 2-spray fragrance for me. I've never sprayed it more than twice. I never will spray it more than twice. This stuff's crazy. It really is. It's crazy. Has that truffle smell, that rich orchid. It's creamy, it's powdery, it's very elegant. Black tie. Special event, special occasion. I've only worn this 2, maybe 3 times in the years that I've had this fragrance, because it's a lot. It's not something to just reach for the hell of it and spray, in my opinion. But if you're looking for that special event fragrance that's going to be impressive, and not only will it be impressive, guarantee you, whether they say it or not, everyone smells you. Everyone. And you're going to have to scrub it off your skin. It'll definitely be there popping off your skin the next morning. This stuff's crazy. This is easily, and has been for a long time and always will be, one of the strongest fragrances in my collection. Super situational. But if you like Black Orchid and you want the most nuclear performing version that's even higher quality because it's better quality oils, here you go. And that's Amouroud Dark Orchid. Now there's a lot of fragrances from City Rhythm that could slot into this spot, but I felt it only right to go with the one that's got the biggest dent in the bottle, because it's the one I've worn the most. That was the deciding factor on how I picked which City Rhythm, because they're all 50% oil concentrations. They all have ridiculous longevity. I decided to go with 2654. You can see that juice level has dropped a pretty good amount. Yeah, nice dent. What is 2654? We see it says Miami with the plane going to San Diego. It's a blend of Miami Tropical Seduction, the original, and San Diego Pacific Sunset. And yeah, the best of both worlds. You get all that coconut by the beach goodness with that ambery, salty breeze of San Diego. Both are phenomenal, but when you combine them properly, not just layering spray this one this time, Actually having them blended, certain notes removed, certain notes enhanced, and just balance the fragrance. I would take this over both San Diego and Miami Tropical Seduction as individuals and just get this because combined it is the superior fragrance. This is so good. Again, 50% longevity. It goes forever. It's strong early on. It's not as projectively strong up top as some of these other ones like Hawas Fire or Atlas like I just spoke of. But, gotta have quick hands. You never know when something's going to slip out. But, the longevity. That's what we're talking about here today. And this has ridiculous, kind of don't really need it, longevity. 12 plus hours, again, like I mentioned earlier on all of these. 12 hours is an understatement. That's lowballing all of these for literally every single one of these fragrances. I never have a situation where I need 16, 18, 20 hours on my fragrance. I just don't. But some of you deem it necessary. And hey, who am I to tell you that you should take a shower before you get to the 24-hour mark with your fragrance? I don't know you. I don't hang out with you. I don't really have to concern myself with your personal hygiene. But if you want a fragrance that's going to last for 24 hours, there's 10 of them in this video. And 2654 happens to be one of them. Again, the reason I picked this one, because all of the fragrances from City Rhythm have this kind of longevity, is because it's the one that's got the biggest dent in the bottle. It's the one I've worn the most. So, that logic, that's the one to roll with, right? I strongly encourage you to check it out. If you want a ridiculous longevity, beachy summer type fragrance, you want to check out 2654. And last but not least, there's only a few bottles available still. The 4-ounce bottles are completely gone and sold out. It'll never be made again. There's a few 2 ounces left. There's a reformulation that had to be done that we'll talk about in a second, but Zaharoff Signature Leather Tabac. I have one spray on from last night still because I used the shave set last night. Here's the aftershave splash, which is outrageously strong. So I did one spray. I really didn't need to spray the fragrance. I got the shave soap as well, but that pungence, it's a bit medicinal up top, the way the plum goes with that heavy birch tar and spices and oud. It's impressive. I think one of the 3 most masculine fragrances Zaharoff has ever put out. It's their strongest fragrance, hands down. Their strongest fragrance in longevity, projection, and sillage. This is one that George himself doesn't do more than 2 sprays. Situations like I just explained, I one spray it just to put it on when I really don't need it. The aftershave splash is enough. But I've gotten to where I just do 2 sprays as well. I used to do 3. And I really don't even need that. So you really get your money's worth with this niche fragrance. It is one of George's most impressive fragrances. It's fabled at this point. There's a lot of people that love the hell out of leather tobacco. That is a natural juice color, by the way. That is not dye added to this fragrance. It is that color. It is that dark. Come on. I know what it is. It's these damn Adidas Powerlift 5s that the camera keeps catching because it's white, so it stands out. But there's a new version coming that removes that birch tar that had to be pulled. It's being deemed a U.S. safe version. We've talked about it on my live streams. I can show it. See, the juice color is a little bit brighter. Same oil concentration. There's only one thing that changed about it, and that medicinal top, that pungent, kind of punches you in the nose a little too much. Pungence at the top is gone, but it's still plum. It's still warm and spicy. It's still super smoky, leather oud. It's still a monster performer, so don't fear. Yeah. Don't fret. It's still super strong. And the label is going to change a little bit. It's going to be something added to the name to indicate it's a new version of it. But those of you that have this, you understand. So there's a link below. And given the situation, I'm going to say, if you want it, there's a couple, like 2 handfuls of 2-ounce bottles left as I record this right now. Literally told me last night. So I'm not saying you need to go run and get it. You don't need any of these. But if you've been wanting it, you're about to run out of time. This is the 2-ounce bottle. There's only like 7 or 8, I think, is what he said, bottles left. So when they're gone, they're gone. But the new version coming around, if you do miss out, don't worry about it. You just lose a little bit of the pungence. It's still outrageously powerful. It's still George's strongest fragrance. So, uber masculine, leather oud, warm spices, tobacco. This is him. This is definitely one of those him type of fragrances. Again, that's Zaharoff Signature Leather Tabac. I'm determined. Watch, as soon as I block the power lifts. Finally got it to focus. So I'm sure I cut out a little bit, but I wanted to show this beautiful label one more time before we end the video. Zaharoff Signature Leather Tabac. Well, that was the 10. That's not the only 10 out there, but not the only 10 that I have, but these 10 are extremely impressive. I don't even know how I'm going to title this exactly, but if you want to check these out, there's links down below. Some of them have discount codes. Some of them are direct to discount sites and so on, where they're already priced a certain way. If you want to check anything out, of course, you don't have to purchase anything to watch the videos. I just appreciate you checking out the video, especially those of you that made it to this point. So again, make sure to like, comment, subscribe before you leave. We'll see you on the next one.